For thousands of years, the galaxy believed it was safe. Empires rose and fell. Wars were fought and forgotten. The stars burned bright, and civilizations spread across millions of worlds. The galaxy was brave and proud. At the center of it all was the Zerath Empire, ancient and powerful. Their ships were fast, their weapons unmatched. They ruled hundreds of systems with iron control. To the Zerath, no one was stronger. Then there were the Vurian Union, known for their wisdom and technology. They believed knowledge was the greatest weapon. Their ships were built with glowing crystal engines, powered by thought and light. And finally, the Creel Syndicate, a race of war-born creatures who believed only in profit and strength. They controlled trade, piracy, and secrets across the stars. These three forces kept the galaxy in balance, or maybe in fear of each other. To them, humanity was a myth. Stories told in dark bars and quiet corners. Some said humans once existed, a small race from a blue planet on the edge of nowhere. Others said they destroyed themselves long ago. No one truly believed humans were real until something strange happened. It began with a signal. On the far edge of the galaxy, a small listening station caught a sound, a deep, repeating pulse. It wasn't alien. It wasn't natural. It was something else. At first, the technicians thought it was interference, static from a dying star. But when they checked again, the signal had changed. Now it carried a rhythm, a pattern, a message. The Vurian scientists listened carefully. The pulse translated into simple words, old and harsh but clear. "We are returning." The technicians laughed nervously. Returning who? But the signal didn't answer. It just kept repeating over and over again. "We are returning. We are returning. We are returning." The Zerath Empire quickly took control of the discovery. They didn't want panic to spread. They called the signal a natural echo. They shut down the station. They silenced everyone involved. But across the galaxy, whispers began to spread. 3 weeks later, a Zerath scout ship, the Vanguard, was sent to trace the source of the signal. It traveled through empty systems, dead worlds, and silent fields of broken rock. Nothing unusual, until the ship reached the dark edge of the galaxy, where the stars thinned and space grew cold. The crew found something there, a shadow. At first, it looked like a piece of debris, metal drifting slowly in the dark. But as they moved closer, the readings began to change. Energy levels rose, metal composition unknown, structure massive. The captain of the Vanguard ordered the ship to stop. The object wasn't debris. It was a vessel, silent, black, waiting, no signal, no light, no life signs. The crew stared at their scanners, confused. Then suddenly, a flash. A single burst of energy, like a heartbeat. The ship's systems went offline. Lights flickered. The crew shouted in panic. One by one, controls died. The last thing the captain saw on his screen was a name, burned into the scanner in strange, human letters, USS Behemoth. Then the transmission ended. The Vanguard never returned. The Zerath Empire tried to hide it again. They said the ship was lost in a meteor storm. They said there was nothing beyond the edge. But the other empires were not so easily fooled. The Vurian Union hacked into Zerath databases. They found fragments of the lost transmission. The name of the ship, the final coordinates, the strange energy reading. The Creel Syndicate bought that data and sold it across the stars. Within days, every power in the galaxy knew the truth, or at least a part of it. Something had arrived. Something that didn't belong. Something. Human meetings were called. Fleets were moved. Rumors turned into fear. Could humans have survived? Did they build a new kind of warship? What do they want? No one knew. No one dared to go closer. The last recorded signal from the Vanguard replayed across the networks. That short, eerie message hidden inside the data stream. "We are returning." And then, silence. The galaxy stood brave. The great empires told their people not to fear. But deep inside, every leader, every soldier, every scientist felt the same thing. Something was coming. Something old. Something powerful. Something that did not care for treaties or borders or pride. For the first time in centuries, the galaxy didn't feel fearless. It felt watched. And in the endless dark, beyond the edge of known space, a single ship moved, slow and silent, like a predator waiting for the right moment to strike. The name on its hull glowed faintly in the starlight, USS Behemoth, And somewhere deep inside that metal beast, humanity had awakened. Space was silent, cold, endless, unforgiving. But that silence was broken, not by war, not by speech, but by a shadow. At the edge of two dying suns, something appeared. No signal announced it. No engine sound, no radiation, no beacon. It simply arrived. The scanners of a nearby Creel mining outpost detected it first. A single blip on their screen. Massive, slow, impossible to identify. Probably an asteroid, the miners thought. But asteroids don't move against gravity. Within hours, the blip grew into a shape, dark, sharp, mechanical. The Creel workers stared in silence as their scanners filled with warnings. The object wasn't rock. It was metal. It was a ship, and it was huge. The Creel sent a message to their command base. Unknown object detected. Dimensions unknown. Suggest military contact. But before the message reached anyone, the object's outline shifted. Panels moved. Lights blinked on, dim red glows like eyes opening after a long sleep. The miners watched, frozen. No ship in the galaxy looked like this. No design matched. No signature identified. The computer tried to scan it and failed. Then, for a moment, text flickered across the mining station's main screen. USS Behemoth. The station went completely dark. When the message reached the Zerath Empire, they called it a trick. They said the Creel were lying, trying to create panic. But then one of their own patrol ships near the same system disappeared. Then another. Then 3 more. Within a day, 5 ships vanished without a single distress call. The Zerath Navy grew nervous. They sent a fleet of 10 destroyers to investigate. The admiral in charge, Talar Vrex, was known for his pride. He had destroyed whole planets in the past. He laughed at the reports. Humans, he said. They are dead myths. I'll show you what real power looks like. His fleet entered the twin sun system. The light of the dying stars reflected on his ships, silver and bright like knives. At first they saw nothing, just the usual cold emptiness. Then from the shadow between the suns, it appeared a single ship, black, silent, enormous. The Behemoth didn't move fast. It didn't hide. It simply existed, dominating space like a mountain floating in the void. Its size was beyond anything the Zerath engineers had ever imagined. It wasn't a cruiser. It wasn't a carrier. It was something different. A warship built for one purpose, total dominance. Identify yourself. Admiral Vrex shouted over the radio. His voice echoed across the channels. No answer. This is the Zerath Imperial Fleet, he repeated. You are in restricted space. Power down your engines and respond. Still silence. Then the Behemoth moved, just slightly. Its front panels opened, revealing a glowing blue core deep inside. The light spread across its surface like veins awakening, energy readings rising. One of Vrex's officers shouted. It's charging something. Huge power surge. Vrex ordered his ships to prepare for combat. Missiles locked. Shields raised. The order was simple. Fire 10 Zerath destroyers unleashed everything they had. Dozens of plasma torpedoes raced toward the Behemoth. The explosion lit the sky brighter than both suns. For a moment everyone thought it was over. Then the light faded, and the Behemoth was still there, untouched. Its shield shimmered like liquid glass, bending space itself. Impossible, whispered one officer. Nothing can survive that, the Behemoth finally answered. A voice came through every channel, deep and calm. Unidentified forces detected. You have violated Terran exclusion space. Leave now. The voice was human, cold, mechanical, but behind the calm words was something terrifying. Confidence. Vrex screamed into his mic. Fire again! Destroy it! The Behemoth's blue core flared. A beam of light, thin as a blade, cut through space. In less than 3 seconds, 3 Zerath destroyers were gone, vaporized. Then another beam. 2 more ships gone, the rest tried to run. They didn't make it. When the light faded, only silence remained. The Behemoth didn't chase. It didn't celebrate. It just turned slowly and began moving deeper into the galaxy. When the Zerath Empire received the news, their leaders were speechless. Their strongest fleet, erased by a single ship. The Vurian Union scientists analyzed the battle data. The energy readings made no sense. Weapons beyond comprehension. Shields breaking known physics. Propulsion systems that bent light. It can't be real, one scientist said softly. No species can build this, but it was real. The message from the behemoth repeated across captured frequencies. This region is under Terran jurisdiction. Vacate immediately. The aliens didn't understand the words Terran jurisdiction, but they understood the meaning. They were being told to leave their own galaxy. Panic spread. Every government called emergency meetings. Every fleet changed course. And far beyond the stars, the behemoth continued its silent path. No one knew where it came from. No one knew its true purpose. But one thing was clear. The galaxy was no longer alone, and for the first time in generations, the empires that called themselves brave finally knew fear. The behemoth's arrival had shaken the galaxy. 10 warships gone, erased by a single human vessel. No one could believe it. No one wanted to, but the wreckage didn't lie. Thousands of fragments floated in the dark, the remains of the proud Zereth fleet. For the first time in centuries, the galaxy was quiet. Too quiet. The great empires, Zereth, Vurian, Creel, all stopped their wars. Their leaders met in secret halls and cold chambers, trying to answer the same question: what is the behemoth? The Vurian Union took the first step. They believed communication could solve anything. They were thinkers, not fighters. The Vurian High Council sent a message across the stars, a peaceful signal, full of calm words and bright tones. It carried greetings in hundreds of languages. They waited. Hours passed. Then days, no response. So the Vurians tried again, a stronger signal, directed straight at the behemoth's last known position. This time someone answered. The voice came without warning. It filled every Vurian channel, cutting through their own broadcast. The sound was human, clear, controlled, and cold. This is the Terran warship behemoth. Identify yourselves. The Vurian ambassador spoke quickly. We are the Vurian Union. We come in peace. We wish to open dialogue. There was a pause, long and heavy. Then the voice replied, This region is under Terran jurisdiction. All unauthorized vessels will leave immediately. The ambassador tried again. We mean no harm. We only wish to win static. The connection ended. The behemoth had spoken, and the galaxy had been dismissed. The Vurians debated what to do next. Some said they should leave the humans alone. Others said they must understand this new power before it was too late. Finally, a small research ship, the Oriole, was sent to observe the behemoth from a safe distance. It carried scientists, diplomats, and translators. No weapons. They found the behemoth drifting near a dying star, motionless. It looked asleep. The Oriole began scanning. Its sensors struggled, as if space itself refused to reveal the ship's secrets. But then suddenly, the behemoth's lights came alive. Red, blue, white. The human ship turned its massive hull toward the Oriole. Inside the Vurian ship, alarms began to scream. Energy surge detected. Shields. Failing. The captain shouted. We're not armed. Send a peace signal now. The communication officer sent the message, dozens of times. But the behemoth didn't stop. It moved closer. Each second it grew larger on their screens. The crew stared in silence as the voice returned, this time louder and colder. Warning ignored. Final notice, vacate Terran space. The captain hesitated. We're scientists. We're not. A flash of light. The Oriole vanished, not exploded, not destroyed. Vanished. Only a wave of radiation remained, silent proof that something impossible had happened. When the news reached the Vurian Council, their cities went into mourning. They had lost their finest minds. Their best hope for peace. The Creel Syndicate, however, saw opportunity. They laughed at the Vurians' weak diplomacy. The Creel were pirates and warlords. To them, power was all that mattered. They decided to capture the behemoth. The Syndicate gathered 5 of their largest battle cruisers and a swarm of smaller raiders. Their leader, Lord Drax, sent out a bold message. To the human warship, you are surrounded. Surrender and hand over your technology. Resistance will be punished. For the first time, the behemoth replied instantly. The voice was calm as ever. Warning, hostile intent detected. You have 30 seconds to retreat, Drax laughed. Fire. Dozens of missiles, plasma bolts, and rail rounds screamed toward the human ship. The void lit up with color, then red, green, white, then nothing. When the light cleared, the behemoth was still there. Not a single scratch. And then it answered. A strange ripple moved through space. Invisible at first, then visible, bending the stars behind it. The ripple spread outward like a pulse, touching every Creel ship. Engines died. Shields failed. Weapons went dark. Then slowly each ship began to tear apart, piece by piece, without a sound. It wasn't an explosion. It was precision, like invisible hands pulling them apart atom by atom. Within seconds, the Creel armada was gone. The behemoth didn't chase survivors. It didn't speak again. It just drifted silent, like a ghost returning to sleep. The few remaining Creel who saw it live told stories. They said the human ship didn't fight like a machine. It fought like a judge. The galaxy began to panic. Who were these humans? What did they want? Were they returning to rule? Or to punish? No one knew, but one thing was clear. The behemoth was not just a ship. It was a message. A message written in fire and silence. Do not test humanity. That night, across countless worlds, the stars seemed dimmer. People whispered old human legends, stories of a race that once ruled by courage, intelligence, and fury. Stories everyone thought were fiction. Now fiction had become reality. The galaxy had made first contact, and wished it hadn't. The galaxy was no longer calm. It was shaking, not from war, not from invasion, but from fear. Whispers spread faster than light. Every planet, every outpost, every ship now spoke the same word. Human. The Vurians called it a tragedy. The Creel called it vengeance. The Zerath called it impossible. But deep inside, they all knew the truth. Something had returned. Something stronger than anything they had ever known. The destruction of the Creel fleet changed everything. Their largest armada, gone without a trace. No debris, no distress calls, just empty space and silence. The Creel syndicate, once proud and ruthless, went into hiding. Their warlords locked themselves in their fortresses, refusing to speak. Their trade routes went dark. Even their pirates stopped attacking ships. The galaxy's black markets, once full of noise, became empty. Everyone feared the next name to appear on human scanners. The Vurian Union tried to calm the chaos. They sent messages across the galactic networks. The humans are not our enemies. We must not provoke them, but no one listened. Too many ships had been lost. Too many lives erased. Everywhere people began to prepare for the worst. Some built bunkers. Some prayed to their gods. Others built bigger weapons. The Zerath Empire refused to accept defeat. Their pride would not allow it. They told their people that the behemoth was just a prototype, a single ship, not an army, but even their soldiers were afraid. No one forgot how easily their fleet had been destroyed. Behind closed doors, the Zerath Council argued endlessly. Do we attack again? Do we negotiate? Do we hide? Every answer sounded wrong. Then came the recordings. From deep space, signals began to appear, distorted messages sent by unknown transmitters. Some believed they were warnings. Others thought they were fake. But one recording, clearer than all others, played across the galactic net. A deep human voice spoke through static. We do not seek war, but we do not forget. The message repeated twice, then vanished. Those who heard it said the voice carried no emotion, no hate, no mercy. Just certainty. The phrase spread like fire. We do not forget. In the Vurian archives, ancient data logs were opened, old human transmissions from centuries ago. Long before humanity disappeared, they had sent out their final words to the galaxy. We leave the stars now, but one day we will return, and when we do, the galaxy will remember who we were. At that time, the aliens had laughed. Now, nobody laughed anymore. The Galactic Council, a rare alliance of all empires, gathered for an emergency session. They met in a massive orbital station near the neutral world of Tareen. Leaders from every species attended, Zerath generals, Vurian scholars, Creel survivors, and dozens of smaller races. The meeting was tense. No one spoke for a long time. Finally, the Vurian Chancellor began, her voice trembling. We are facing a force unlike any before. We must find a way to communicate with the humans, to prove we are not their enemies. Lord Drax's successor, a Creel warlord with burning eyes, slammed his fist on the table. Communicate. They erased our fleets. They don't talk, they destroy. A Zerath commander stood next. We have studied their weapons. Their technology is far beyond ours. But if we unite, maybe we can stand against them. Unite? The Vurian asked softly. Against whom? Against a single ship? Silence fell again. The council had no answer. Meanwhile, in the dark corners of space, new factions rose. fanatics who worshipped the behemoth as a divine machine. They called themselves the Children of Terror. To them, the humans were not destroyers. They were gods returning to reclaim their throne. They painted human symbols on their ships. They broadcast human music through the void. And they whispered a single phrase before every mission: "The Terrans remember." The galaxy's chaos grew deeper. No one trusted anyone anymore. In one forgotten sector, a small Vurian freighter picked up a faint signal. The crew almost ignored it, thinking it was static. But when they decoded it, their blood ran cold. It was coordinates. And a simple message: "We are not done." The coordinates pointed to the center of the galaxy, the heart of the ancient empires. Within hours, the message spread everywhere. People ran. Fleets scattered. Governments fell into panic. If the behemoth was moving toward the center, then nowhere was safe. The galaxy had always called itself fearless. It had fought wars, crushed rebellions, and conquered worlds. But now every being across every star system felt the same thing: dread, because they all knew what came next. The behemoth wasn't just passing through space anymore. It was heading somewhere. It had a mission. And deep in the void, as countless eyes looked toward the stars in terror, a voice echoed across an encrypted channel. Phase 2. Begin Galactic Cleansing Protocol. The behemoth had spoken again. And this time, it wasn't giving a warning. The galaxy had united. For the first time in centuries, enemies set aside their grudges. The Zerath, the Vurian, the Creel, even smaller independent systems, all of them combined into one massive armada. They called it the Great Fleet. It stretched across the void for millions of kilometers. Thousands of ships, weapons, and soldiers, the largest the galaxy had ever seen. Every captain believed they could stop the human warship. Every soldier believed they would survive. They were wrong. The behemoth was waiting. Deep in the Nemarian nebula, it floated like a shadow among the stars. Silent, massive, untouchable. Sensors detected it. Nothing unusual, yet everything was impossible. Its shields glowed faintly blue, bending light around the hull. Its engines hummed like the heartbeat of a god. The great fleet approached cautiously. Missiles locked, weapons charged, shields raised. Every fleet commander shouted orders. Every fleet pilot braced for battle. No one dared speak of fear, but fear lived in every heart. The first strike came from the Creel. Missiles, plasma cannons, and energy beams shot toward the behemoth. The galaxy's strongest firepower focused on one target, and for a moment, it seemed as if they could succeed. Then the behemoth moved. Not fast, not chaotic. Slow, precise, calculated. A single wave of energy extended from its core. It wasn't a blast. It wasn't a bomb. It was a force. Ships disintegrated instantly. Metal and men vanished. Nothing remained. The armada fired again, and again. Each strike was neutralized. Shields bent the beams, absorbed the blasts, and sent nothing back. The behemoth didn't fight like any ship the galaxy had ever seen. It didn't dodge. It didn't aim. It judged. Admiral Vrex of the Zerath screamed orders. Concentrate fire. Focus everything on its core. 10, 20, 30 ships targeted the same point. The behemoth's core glowed brighter. Then, with a pulse, the entire formation of 30 ships vanished. The fleet trembled. Men and women screamed. Some ships fled. Some stayed, desperate to fight. No strategy worked. No weapons could harm it. It was not a ship. It was a weapon. A judgment. The Vurians tried their technology. They unleashed quantum disruptors, beams designed to unravel matter itself. The beams hit the behemoth's shields. Nothing. The Creel tried their numbers. Hundreds of fighters swarmed it, fast and agile. They fired, they rammed, they crashed. Nothing. The behemoth didn't even flinch. Its core glowed like blue fire. Its hull reflected the stars, and then it moved again. The human warship did not attack recklessly. It did not chase or destroy for fun. It simply destroyed what needed destroying. Every strike was precise, every pulse calculated, every beam exact. Within an hour, the great fleet was shattered. The galaxy's strongest soldiers were dead. Its proudest ships reduced to nothing. The survivors floated in space, paralyzed with shock. The behemoth did not celebrate. It did not speak. It simply continued its course, slow, silent, unstoppable. The leaders of the galaxy had only one thought. They had underestimated humans. Reports spread quickly. Every fleet in the galaxy learned the same terrifying lesson. No matter how many ships you built, no matter how advanced your weapons, no matter how united you were, humanity would always be stronger. Small systems surrendered first. They sent messages of obedience. They offered resources. They promised loyalty. But even the proudest empires knew it would not be enough. A lone survivor of the Zerath fleet sent a message back home. It was short, clear. We cannot stop it. Do not fight, run, pray, humanity remembers and it judges. The message spread across all channels like wildfire. Fear became panic. Panic became chaos. Even the Creel who lived for war now whispered of mercy. Even the Vurian, masters of reason, began to pray to unknown gods. The behemoth had not just defeated the galaxy. It had broken it. And yet, as the survivors fled into the dark, one truth remained clear. The human warship was not just a weapon. It was a message, a warning, a promise, a reminder of what humanity could do when it willed it. The galaxy had fought together, united with every ship, soldier, and weapon at its disposal. It had failed, and deep in the void the behemoth continued its path. No celebration, no joy, just silence, precision, and power. It was a single ship. It was one human warship, and yet it had defeated an entire galaxy. The stars seemed dimmer now. Every empire understood the same truth. Humanity had returned, and nothing, and not pride, not weapons, not alliances, could stop it. The galaxy had fought its war, and lost. The galaxy was silent. After the destruction of the Great Fleet, the empires had nothing left. Planets shook. Cities trembled. Leaders hid in panic and soldiers stared into space, speechless. The behemoth had not pursued them. It had not attacked without reason. It simply moved, slow, silent, dominant. The Vurian Council attempted one last transmission. Human warship. Their message began, trembling over the channels. We surrender. We seek peace. We offer resources. We ask for mercy. The galaxy held its breath. This was the first voluntary surrender to humans in centuries. For hours, nothing happened. Then, across all networks, the same voice echoed. Your surrender is noted. Humanity does not seek conquest, but it remembers, and it judges. The words were calm, emotionless, yet carried power beyond measure. The message repeated now in every language of the galaxy. No fleet could escape it. No signal could be blocked. Then the behemoth did something the galaxy had never seen. It slowed, and then, with almost imperceptible speed, it rotated toward the galactic core. Its engines shimmered with a pale blue light, bending space around them. One by one, the remaining fleets watched in awe. The human warship disappeared from all senses. No warp signature. No jump gate. Nothing. It was as if it had never existed. Across the galaxy, people whispered of the message that had just been delivered. We do not seek conquest. But never forget, humanity remembers. Some worlds fell into despair. Some trembled with fear. Some secretly rejoiced, believing that survival was possible if they obeyed the humans' unspoken rules. Historians, philosophers, and scientists tried to understand what had just happened. Some called it a warning, some called it a prophecy, but all agreed on one thing. The humans were not just another species, they were a force of nature. In the outer systems, the Creel survivors began to whisper of the returning, stories of a single warship that could destroy fleets, judge the proud, and disappear at will. They painted murals in secret. They told tales in hushed voices. And in every story, one phrase was repeated: humanity remembers. Even the Vurian, known for logic and reason, began to fear what the next encounter might bring. If humanity had returned with just one ship, what would come next? The galaxy had learned an important lesson. Every empire, every fleet, every world realized that strength alone could not protect them. It was not numbers. It was not technology. It was human will. The behemoth had not conquered. It had not destroyed everything. It had reminded the galaxy of a truth it had long forgotten. Humanity was unstoppable when it willed it. Months later, scientists tried to trace the behemoth's path. They scanned every sector, calculated every hyperspace lane, searched every nebula. Nothing. The human warship had vanished completely. And yet, the galaxy felt its presence everywhere. in the silence of space, in the trembling of leaders, in the whispering of soldiers, it had left its mark. For the first time in thousands of years, the galaxy did not feel brave. It felt respect. It felt fear. It felt awe. The empires rebuilt, but nothing was the same. They strengthened fleets, built bigger weapons, and studied technology more than ever before. But the legend of the behemoth was always in the back of their minds. No fleet would ever move through space without asking, what if humanity returns? And in the deep, endless dark of the galaxy, somewhere beyond the edge of the known universe, the behemoth sailed silently. No sound, no announcements, no emotion, just a single ship, a single human will, a single message that the galaxy could never forget. We do not seek war, but we do not forget. Humanity remembers. The galaxy had stood brave until the human warship appeared.